Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are going to be doing some line art of Apple Bloom from My Little Pony, but this is how I would draw her, or how I would make the next generation of My Little Pony as a reboot, whichever way you want to look at it. Alright, so with My Little Pony, I always found it kind of, I don't know, annoying, interesting how each of the Cutie Mark Crusaders, they just all have the same personality. So what I would like to do for them is that Apple Bloom's kind of the static same character, but Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle, they're a little bit different and have their own personality. That way you can have more stories with them instead of them just being the same character, same reactions every single time. That's just my opinion, though. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we will be coloring Apple Bloom from My Little Pony. This is just how I would draw her. The other Apple Bloom can still exist, and she's valid, and her design's fine. My design is not better than the original. So, once again, I'm not changing too much of Apple Bloom. I just decided to go with more of a peachy tone for Apple Bloom. And then Big Mac can still be his red coloring. Just so that way they're not all, like, different colors. Because it doesn't really make sense with genetics, in my opinion. I don't know. And, I don't know, I just decided to give her some more freckles and stuff. I feel like I need to look at more pictures of, like, real-life horses. Because I want to do more colorings that look like real-life horses. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hello, welcome back to another video where I will be doing line art. This is going to be my redesign of Applejack if I was Lauren Faust and in charge of making a new generation of My Little Pony. But they wanted it to be rebooted and have the same characters. The same characters from Friendship is Magic, that is. I honestly didn't change much from the design that I made 2 years ago, except for some very small things, just because I draw differently for the main part. But I am happy with this version of her, and we'll get the erasing done, and that's the finished line art. Again, let me know what you guys want to see, because I still think line art videos are kind of boring. Also, those are drawings I did at work. Welcome back to my Applejack redesign. We're finally going to be coloring it. This is where I am hypothetically in charge of a reboot of Friendship is Magic. But all the characters are going to be the same characters, but different. Again, I drew these designs like 2 years ago, but I'm not changing too much about them because I'm pretty satisfied with how most of them turned out. There's just a little bit of some style changes. One thing that I wish I was different with this picture, though, is that, I don't really have a lot of dark red colors. And I just feel like the dark reds on this Applejack is too dark red. I've noticed that these Ohuhus just don't have that many, like, red colors. I know there's pink, but I don't consider that a red. But for now, this is how Applejack turned out. Thank you. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am going to be doing line art of Princess Cadance from My Little Pony. But this is either how I would draw her, or if I could redesign her. The biggest variations I've made of these characters so far is just giving each species of pony their own specific design elements. I tried to kind of make Princess Cadance look a little bit smaller than Princess Luna and Princess Celestia. I did not give her the same leg cuffs. I kind of picture Princess Cadance as a younger princess that's slowly learning how to become as great as a ruler as Celestia and Luna. And in general, I just think there should be more Alicorn characters. But that's just my... Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are coloring my version of Princess Cadance. I really like Princess Cadance. She is one of the best designed characters of the show, I think. So, in general, it's just turning her design into something that looks similar to my style. And once again, I give each species of ponies their own traits. So she has alicorn traits, like the other alicorns. I mentioned before that I think she's a younger alicorn, still learning her place and things like that. I think it would be interesting if there were more alicorns in this show than the ones that we have. And instead of having all of them be royals, we could just have some that are just part of the species. That way you can keep marketing the toys with princess characters. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are going to be doing line art of Princess Celestia from My Little Pony. If you're new here, I've done all the main 6. We're now doing the princesses, and then we'll keep moving on. So if you're interested in any other character, I've probably already done them, and they're on my page for you to enjoy. Now, out of the princess, I've said before that I like Luna the best, but I still enjoy Princess Celestia's character. And I mostly enjoy her in particular with the later seasons, where her and Twilight are more like equals. Mostly I enjoy that because you get to see this like goofy side to Princess Celestia, and I just think that's a lot of fun. I like goofy Princess Celestia. I've also mentioned before that I'm just not going to be changing much about the princesses. I kind of gave them more like armor beads and stuff like that, because it made more sense than a princess crown to me. I don't know. Maybe they still have a crown, it's just not in this picture. And now upon doing my voiceover, I'm noticing that when I thought I was stopping the recording, I actually was not stopping the recording. And now there's nothing I can do to fix this. Oops. My bad. This looks awful, I'm sorry. More about Princess Celestia. I also enjoy the, like, little feud she has with Princess Luna for, like, 2 different episodes of the later ones. Because there's that one where they switched cutie marks, and then there was that one where they went on vacation and had an argument because they both didn't want to do the same things for their vacation. However, I don't like that, they basically told Twilight she's the ruler of Equestria now, and that they just get to retire. What have y'all been... Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we're going to be coloring my version of Princess Celestia if I got to design her for a new season of My Little Pony. If you're new here, I've done all of the main 6. I've done Luna, now we're doing Celestia. Next will probably be Cadance and Starlight. And we're just gonna keep going until I get to draw my favorite, Trixie. For Celestia, I wanted to go more towards a daytime sky when it comes to her hair. But meanwhile, you get a little bit of those pinks. And then for Cadance, she's gonna have a mixture of some pinks and then some purples. So that way it's more of a transition from Celestia, Cadance, Twilight, and then Luna, if that makes sense. So that's why I made the choices that I did for Celestia. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are doing line art of my design of Fluttershy if I were given the option to design her. I said it once, I'll say it again. These designs are mainly based on these designs I did in 2021 or 2022, where they were space ponies. So I had to change Fluttershy's design because she looked too much like a space pony, because I made them have like space hair. So that won't work for like a normal redesign of her. So for Fluttershy, I decided to lean more into like a foresty thing, because I still would like her special talent to be involving animals. So I don't think Fluttershy would always have like pristine brushed hair, because she's helping animals in the forest. I was thinking of doing some green accents again for this design, because the Space Pony design also had green accents, but, I'm wondering if I should go with some brown accents this time instead, because her hooves would get dirty if she's always wandering in the forest saving animals. Now, for some of these characters, I've made them half Pegasus or half this. Fluttershy's half Pegasus, half unicorn. So I've made her a little bit more fluffier than I would a unicorn design. And then she has the classic unicorn tail. Like, if you go back to my page and look at my rarity design, she's more, slick and compact. I don't know how to describe it. But that's an example of how I would do a purebred, like, unicorn. I also just think making Fluttershy unicorn would be better because she'd be able to help animals easier, so that's why she's a unicorn now. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are going to be coloring my version of Fluttershy if I got to design her. If you're new here, I've done the rest of the main 6. Next we're doing princesses. Then we're just gonna keep going until I get to draw my favorite Trixie. I've also mentioned before that these were based off of some art I did maybe in 2020, 2021, I don't know, where they were space ponies. And for Fluttershy, the only thing I changed is that I gave her brown hooves instead of green. I feel like her hooves and her mane would get messy if she's wandering out in the forest helping forest creatures. That's also why I gave her some flowers in her hair, because, yeah. If you saw me accidentally post this to my stories, no you didn't. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of my version of Princess Luna. If you're new here on my page, I've done redesigns of the main 6, so now we're doing the princesses, and then maybe some other characters. We'll see, because like I said before, I want to do Trixie because she's my favorite. Out of the princesses, Luna's my favorite. Is that surprising? No. But I also like Cadance quite a bit, so... For my design, I decided to stray away from giving them a crown, but they do have their own little special jewels, like real-life horses. Because with real-life horses, they have armor and stuff, and I was kind of following that a little bit, not explicitly. I also decided to go with the trend of giving Luna some bat wings. I'm a sucker for bats. I just love bats so much. So why not use them as inspiration? And because Princess Luna and Princess Celestia are alicorns, I decided to give them unicorn tails, but the fluffs on their hooves are different. And of course you got the classic unicorn horn, and I thought it'd be nice if they were just a little bit fluffier. In my version, I still think Princess Luna would be shorter than her sister, then Cadance, then Twilight. Maybe after 1,000 years they'll be the same size as Celestia for Luna. But for Twilight, I think she should be Cadance sized. But that's just my personal opinion on what they would look like 1,000 years later. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I'm going to be coloring my design of Princess Luna if I got to do a redesign of this character for a new series of My Little Pony. Going into coloring this, I did not know what I was going to do, but I really like how it came out. She makes me think of like a Van Gogh painting or something. I was looking at pictures of the night sky, and this just sort of happened. I was not even looking at pictures of Van Gogh's art. And then once I colored it, I was like, how do I make this look better? And that's where the speckling came from. But I really liked how this came out. It's definitely not animation friendly. It's not. But that's okay, because I like the way it turned out. So, you win some, you lose some, I don't know. I don't think I ever intended it to be. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we will be coloring my version of Pinkie Pie. Essentially, if I was given the power to make my own My Little Pony designs and have them be canon, this is that series. And I'm not going to lie, Pinkie Pie's is definitely one of my favorite designs that I've ever made of My Little Pony characters. And this design is basically just a little bit of some tweaking of an older design that I did previously. But I think the changes were needed, and I do enjoy them. The biggest change is that she has, like, little sprinkle freckles of that cotton candy colors. And I changed her cutie mark slightly, but you can't see it all the way. And finally, I kind of made her hair make a little bit more sense to me, where it's like put up in those little two dual pigtails, because she didn't have that. And I'm trying to make each species have their own little details. So the Pegasuses are more like fluffy, for example. And in other cases, I've made the unicorns kind of have the classic art of like a unicorn tail. But Pinkie Pie is half unicorn, half Pegasus now, so that's why she has like a unicorn tail. Anyway, hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. I'll see you next time. Hey, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of Rainbow Dash from My Little Pony, but this time it's my version. Back in the 2000s, they asked Lauren Faust to design the Generation 4 of My Little Pony, and this is just kind of, if I was asked to do that, and they're basically reboots of the old characters, but in my design. Now, I didn't change a whole lot about the design I did in 2020, something like that, where all the characters were space ponies. I've not shown this art on here, just because I never recorded a video of it, but it exists. But that series was basically if I was given the power to make space ponies a real thing, because back in Generation 1, they were going to make space ponies. There was a prototype for it. They never did it, but that was, if I was given the power to design a species of space ponies, that's what that was. But I basically just made the main 6 into the different, like, space ponies types you could get. But that's not what we're doing today. We're just doing the regular designs, the base designs of that. In my space pony design, she didn't have, like, a regular tail, so this time I had to design her a new tail, basically. And then her wings were, like, space clouds, so I had to give her real wings this time. And I kind of based the wings off of, like, the Generation 3 toys, where they got that little swirly there. And I just really enjoy how that came out. It makes me so happy. And I've seen designs where they give her, like, a cloud tail, and I thought about doing that, and then decided I just didn't like it that much. But we are coming to the finished picture. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble endlessly, and I will see you next time. Goodbye! Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I'm going to be coloring my version of Rainbow Dash if I was, like, in charge of a reboot. You know how in 2010 Lauren Faust was able to design Generation 4? This is that, but I'm rebooting them. They're my versions of the same character. If you're new here, I have almost all of the main 6 done, except for Fluttershy. She's coming up next. And then after that, we will probably be designing the princesses. Actually, I know for sure we will be doing the princesses. and then maybe any other main characters that exist. Specifically, I want to draw Trixie because she's my favorite. She's my favorite and always has been. Now, my favorites of the main 6 would probably have to be Rarity or Fluttershy. I have nothing against the other My Little Ponies from the main 6. Those are just my favorite. And I pretty much decided to make her bandana red because I thought it would make everything a little bit more cohesive. I feel like this version of Rainbow Dash, her favorite color is red. But yes, this is the final drawing. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about pretty much nothing. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of Scootaloo from My Little Pony. This is if I was given the option to do a reboot or just how I would draw her, whichever you want to look at it as. So I mentioned before that the Cutie Mark Crusaders all seem to have the same personalities, and I'm keeping that the same for Apple Bloom, but Sweetie Belle, she's acting like her sister, but she's more rambunctious and rowdy and likes dirt and mud like she does in the original. Scootaloo, I think she would look up to Rainbow Dash, and a lot of the time she acts tough, but really she's just a softie, just like Rainbow Dash. She also probably likes cute things like kittens and other things like pink, I don't know. I think that would be a fun thing for her, and definitely make her different. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am coloring my version of Scootaloo. That does not mean my version's better than the show. And I've spoken before about how, I think they need more darker colors in the show because they've been leaning toward, a lot of pastels and things lately. I think they should have more horses that are just brown. So that's why Scootaloo is brown. She can still have purple hair and things, but yeah, I just think she would look nice brown, so that's why she's brown. I was very tempted to give her freckles and things like that, but then I was like, oh my god, I've done so many designs with freckles of these characters that maybe I should tone it down a little. Now, with my version of Rainbow Dash, she wears a red bandana, so I decided I'd give Scootaloo a similar bandana. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of Starlight Glimmer from My Little Pony. And you can either look at this as this is just how I would draw her, or you can look at this as me redesigning my own characters for a reboot. My biggest changes so far has been just giving each species of pony their own specific traits. And I decided to give Starlight a little bow thing to make her look more, I don't know, official, because this version of Starlight is still evil. I don't think I would change the fact that certain characters, they first appear as evil, and then later get redeemed. So I picture this version of Starlight, she straightens her hair a little bit, but she can never quite get all of her tail straightened. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I'm going to be coloring my version of Starlight Glimmer. The biggest thing I changed is the way that she's colored. I think it would be more interesting for her to have some darker tones, and in general, I think this show needs a lot more, characters with darker tones. I feel like a lot of characters in this show have pastel colors, so that's why I decided to lean towards a more darker color scheme. Now, a happy accident was when I was going through my purples, I ended up using this reddish purple. And at first I was like, oh, I don't like it. But the more I worked with this drawing, the more I've come to really like it. I don't mind it that much. I think it definitely adds an element to her character where she's always got darker colors, you know. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of Sunset Shimmer from My Little Pony. This is how I would draw her, or how I would redesign her if I was given the option to do a reboot of My Little Pony, whichever way you want to look at it as. I don't really much care for the Equestria Girls, maybe controversial opinion. I do think the movies are iconic, but I just find that as a concept of Twilight going to the human world when she used to be Pony, I find that concept weird. So my version of Sunset Shimmer is an antagonist. Of course, she's still an antagonist. But slowly over the course of the series, she also gets redeemed, similar to Starlight Glimmer. She wants to be good, but just doesn't really know how. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am coloring my version of Sunset Shimmer. I've mentioned before that I think it's weird having our pony version of Twilight interact with the human version of these characters. So, if I were to reboot the series, I would not do that. They can definitely be their own two separate things, and they don't have to touch each other, okay? We can just have the same characters in the same series, and they can be two separate things. I, once again, didn't change too much about her. I thought it would be nice for her to have some freckles and things like that on her skin. And then I realized I forgot to leave hardly any white, so I had to go back with some paint and fix that, because I like having white highlights. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing some line art of Sweetie Belle from My Little Pony. This is how I would draw her, or how I would create the next generation of My Little Pony, if given the option. Whichever way you wanted to look at it as. But I'm going to be mentioning this in my Apple Bloom video. I want to give each of the Cutie Mark Crusaders their own character, because they always have the same reactions and they're the same character, essentially. That's how I look at it. If you don't, that's fine. But Apple Bloom's the same static character. Sweetie Belle, I want her to, at first, look up to her sister, so much so that she pretends to be like her sister at first, but then eventually she's a little bit more rambunctious and stuff like that. But here she is. Hello, it is Tree Sprite, and today we are coloring my version of Sweetie Belle, or if I was given the option to do a reboot, how I would draw her. Okay. I honestly didn't change that much from her original design, because I think her original design is pretty solid, and I think it's fine that she matches Rarity with the white coat and then, different colored hair. But I did give her some pearl elements to kind of hint that she wants to be a little bit like her sister instead of being her own person. Because that's what I think would be interesting for her character to be like, is that she wants to be like her sister, and she's not. And I know she's normally like that in the show, but you could definitely have stories where she acts like very prissy and things like that. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am drawing Tempest Shadow from My Little Pony. This is to kind of round out and finish up my series of basically My Little Pony characters in general, but also like Twilight's different foes. So I have Trixie, I have Tempest Shadow, I have Starlight Glimmer, and I have Sunset Shimmer. So that is all of Twilight's foes. And then my next one is going to be finishing up all of the, like, Cutie Mark Crusaders. So I will be doing Babseed. And then after that, I'm not sure what My Little Pony stuff I will draw. I guess we'll see. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am coloring a picture of Tempest Shadow from My Little Pony. I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm just kind of rounding up the series of characters that I have going on right now. And I just felt like this grouping needed 2 more characters. So that's Tempest and Trixie. And then after that, I don't know where we'll go. But I do enjoy how this turned out. I did not change that much of Tempest Shadow. Honestly, I feel like her design's pretty good. I don't know. For me, I feel like a lot of, the My Little Pony characters fall into, like, pastel colors. So, that's kind of why I like Tempest Shadows, because she has the darker colors, so, I don't know. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are doing line art of Trixie from My Little Pony. This is just how I'm choosing to draw her. My design is not better than the original. It's just how I would like to draw her. My version of her. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, my version is definitely better than the original. And my art in general is better than the original. But I really like My Little Pony as a series. I used to watch the episodes as they came out, back in the 2010s, I think it was. I even watched the original G3 series as a girl, and there's no shame in admitting that some shows are for you and some shows aren't, but I'm happy that this exists. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am coloring my version of Trixie Lulumoon. She is my absolute favorite My Little Pony character, and it was time I drew her. I'm trying to round up the current groupings that I have of My Little Pony characters, and then after that, we'll see where we're at, because I kind of do this thing on Tumblr where I'll, like, gather series of characters and then post them all in one. So I'm trying to finish a series of, like, Twilight's Foes. That's what this series is, I guess. But yeah, I don't know which characters I'll draw next. I don't know what fan art in general I'll be drawing next. I'm just trying to exist right now, I feel like. This whole month, holiday season has felt like a lot. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, we'll see. This is done. Thank you. Hello, it's Tree Sprite, and today we are going to be doing line art of Twilight Sparkle from My Little Pony. Except this is if I was given the power to design Twilight Sparkle. Similar to, like, Lauren Frost in, like, 2010, I guess. I don't know. For my version of Twilight this time, I've changed it quite a bit. I'm doing most of my redesigns following off of this one I did in 2022, something like that. And it was like a digital drawing of the main 6, except they were aliens. In that original set, I wasn't intending that Twilight to be Twilight. I just basically turned it into Twilight because I didn't feel like redrawing it. Because I was just trying to come up with how I wanted to make space ponies, basically. And then as I was drawing the next one, I was like, oh, what if I made it into the main 6 as space aliens? And so that one just became Twilight. And I had put that Twilight character in, like, pigtails. I don't know, I feel like my Twilight would also be a book nerd, and pigtails just don't work. I don't know. But anyway, this Twilight is an Earth Pony. She's half unicorn. She has ancestors that are unicorns. That's why she has a unicorn tail. And I guess my idea would be that slowly she would gain the ability to do magic. But this is how she came out. I enjoy it quite a bit. Thanks for watching. Hey, it's Tree Sprite, and today I am coloring my version of Twilight Sparkle if I were Lauren and got to design My Little Pony characters based off of Gen 4, I guess. This is what I would make. Definitely heavily inspired by that time in, like, 2019, I guess, when they were, like, trying to do a reboot of My Little Pony, but were leaning in the direction of keeping the old characters, and Twilight was an Earth Pony. I really like the idea of, an Earth Pony Twilight, because she can go from this studious librarian dork to, the Princess of Friendship, and having, wings and a horn, and trying to navigate the newness of all of that. But as for colors, I looked at pictures of, like, Twilight time of day, to get my inspiration for the color scheme, because that was my original idea. I definitely want to make, like, Celestia daytime themed, and then Luna still nighttime themed, and then Twilight's the in-between, and Cadance is the in-between. So Twilight's like the night half, and Cadance can have more like a daytime thing going on. If I could have it my way, I think it would be interesting if she could actually be Luna's student instead of Celestia's. But, you know, I'm not making this into like a real world thing. So she can be Luna's student. There's no story or comic coming with this, so she can be her student. We're just going to ignore Nightmare Night, I guess. I don't know. But this is the finished picture. I'm very happy with how it came out.